So I've got to admit something to you all. I mean, if you all have been following the channel and you've seen, kind of the content I put out here and there, you might know this already, but it might be hard to believe, but I love the PS1. It is one of my all-time favorite game systems. I love this system. I could have done that with the broken systems I have. Okay, that one was better. That was better. I mean, the laser, you saw the laser come off and everything. And you know what's funny? Despite this thing like falling off while completely kind of bouncing and all that stuff, I bet these systems all still work just fine. Take that, any game system produced after, what, 2005 we can say? Yeah, I think that works. Okay, before we get into this, before we get into the actual top here, I also got to show you the other thing I got. Check this out. I always wanted these, so I got it kind of recently, but it's one of the PS1 Slims, right? And it has the screen on it. This thing was cool as hell. It's literally just kind of a portable PS1 in a way, but I thought this was pretty cool. And my brother was using this recently for Final Fantasy VII, so works out great. And from what I know, the PS1 also plays games better than the original PlayStation, so kind of a good incentive to get one of these things. However, despite the PS1 being a great system that I absolutely love and can talk about all day, we're not here to talk about the PlayStation or the PlayStation 1 or the PS2 or whatever any type of system is. We're here to talk about silver PlayStation games or silver PS1 games or whatever they're called. Now there's going to be two types of people who are watching this. There's going to be some people that are like, silver, what? What are you talking about? And there's going to be other people that are just like, oh, silvers, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about them bootleg games, aren't you? Well, I'm not talking about those, actually. I mean, we can bring it up. I think that's fair. And, we'll bring this up here. But first, let's look at an actual PS1 game. So I have this PlayStation 1 game right here. It is Final Fantasy Origins Remastered Editions, Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 2. People were saying that, the 7th generation of game consoles are going crazy with the remasters. We were getting remasters on the PS1, man. What are you talking about? Anyways, I decided to get this earlier this year because I didn't have it in my collection. Now, I could have gotten a brand new copy of it, but it was a greatest hits copy, and I'd rather have the, the black sign right here, because personally, I just think it looks cooler. So no big deal about that, although it is, check this out, it's made by Squaresoft, not by Square Enix. This is one of the original prints. So you open it up right here, the case is busted, thank you very much, and right here you get this cool looking disc, and then you can go ahead, take the disc out, and look at the back. And what does that iconic backside look like? Oh yeah, it's black. Even though it's just a regular CD, that's it. So even the cool thing is, technically it's not black. If you hold it up to light, it's actually really dark blue. So just one thing to keep in mind. It looks black, but it's actually extremely dark blue. There was also years ago, Memorex used to do black CDRs, and they looked cool as hell, but they were really dark purple. So not the exact same thing, but close enough. So close but no cigar. Anyways, this is what a PlayStation 1 CD-ROM game looks like. You got the cool looking cover art, you flip it over on the back, it's black, people know about that, so that was kind of rhyming, that's cool. Anyways, people know about that right here, so we'll kind of just put it up to the side. It's kind of broken. I can't put this back together. Now, I'm a bit of a game collector as well too, but I don't really try and collect for certain systems. I'm not like a full set collector. I just collect what I like, and I kind of collect small little pockets here and there, I guess you can say. But I decided to get another copy of Final Fantasy Origins, this time a brand new copy that is a greatest hits edition. And you all might be wondering, why the hell did you do that when you already had this copy right here and you just said explicitly you didn't want the new copy because it was the nasty looking greatest hits edition? Well, I'll even show you. So, this is the greatest hits edition, right? Turn around the back, looks about the same and everything. There's a few changes, there's a few discrepancies, they changed where the T rating is, and also this one is published by Square Enix and not Squaresoft, because Square Enix had taken over at that time, and well, Squaresoft and Enix ended up coming together and they made Square Enix, so that's kind of a little history lesson on that. But this thing right here, very different for one reason. Well, kind of two. One of them, though, as you can see, the art's a little bit different on here. And normally, the greatest hits versions of games did not look nearly as cool as the regular versions. Most of the time, they were just kind of because they were cheaper. These would sell for like $10, $15, $20, as opposed to the, I don't know, $30, $35, $40 counterparts that were originally out because they were discounted. So you had, the white-looking label right here. Not as cool as the one you saw here, but this is what convinced me to end up buying one. And I looked it up and not that many people had covered it, but you take the disc out, you turn it around, and what the hell is this? it looks like a regular CD. Did I just get frauded here? What happened? You see, that doesn't seem too right, does it? Like, we have this normal disc right here, which this is what you expect. It's the black back, and then you have, you know, the cheaper looking greatest hits edition, but it has the just clear back. It looks like just a music CD, and that's it. Now, I had first heard about this because I think I was looking up this game's release, and what happened was there was somebody on a forum who was freaking out, and they were like, yo, guys, I got this disc, right? And it was like a Square Enix title. And they said, I got this disc, and it's silver on the back. It's not black, it's silver. And I don't really remember that, but the weird thing is, it works on my PlayStation 2, my PlayStation 3. It works just fine. What happened? Did I get like a weird unauthorized copy or what? And people came in, they immediately said, they're just like, oh yeah, dude, you got a pirated copy of the game. You got a Hong Kong silver. You got a silver bootleg of the game. And I was thinking that too. I'm like, that's really strange, but that doesn't make sense because the guy said it worked on all of his systems just fine. They were all unmodified. Well, this is pretty much what ended up happening. Now, Square Enix, I don't know if there's any other publishers that do this or any other developers, but Square Enix still presses some original PlayStation games. Yes, you heard that right. In 2016, they still press some. However, you can only buy them in a few places. One of them is like Amazon.com, you can buy them officially there. The other one is from the Square Enix web store. And the thing is now, the PlayStation 1 came out in 96, and then the PS2 came out in 2000, 2001. It was 2000. It came out in 2000, so honestly, there hasn't been a dire need for PS1 games for at least a decade. But some of them are still being pressed officially, which means that honestly, my theory is, you know, Sony did not need to have the extra manpower and the extra hardware and pay all the extra costs to make these black looking discs because they're no longer in high demand. However, some of them still are made. I know, for example, Marilyn Manson, his last album that came out, if not one of his last albums, they actually went all out and they wanted to do a few cool things with it. One of them being, I don't own the album, so I don't know 100%. I can't show it here, unfortunately. But one of them being is that it's actually pressed onto a black disc. And apparently they said that they actually went and contacted Sony and they wanted to press it in one of the original factories where PS1 games are pressed. Now, I would feel like that hardware's deprecated at this point, but point is, I just know they pressed them onto black discs, and they also even did it so that, like, 9 Inch Nails did this one as well, too. Like, you see the CD label here? I guess they made it so the CD label was a certain way, and then after you play it for a bit, the disc heats up, and then it changes. So 9 Inch Nails did that with their Year Zero release. I remember because that tripped me the hell out. But no, in short, this is the one I wanted, but I ended up adding this game to my collection because this game, as well as many other brand new Square Enix titles, are actually pressed in small batches, and they are put onto just regular CDs right here. While those are not that interesting, I never had one of these official regular looking discs in my PlayStation collection, so this is the only disc I have that is like this, and you know, you can only get the greatest hits ones with this. Now, all of the other officially released titles should have come in a black disc like this. The only ones I could think of that weren't black were like the Game Shark discs because they were blue, and I don't know how they were able to press them and have them officially run up there, but this kind of showed me something that was really funny. First off, it was all for looks, and second, Sony, I remember they would say, you know, the black disc looks cool, but second, they would say that it was for copy protection. The black label did nothing for copy protection. You could put this disc in your computer and you can rip it over just fine as long as you have a working disk drive. There's no copy protection on there. The copy protection is on the PlayStation itself. If you burn off a CDR image of that and your PlayStation hasn't been modified to run those games, it's not going to run. It's as easy as that. However, you know, you can still copy the game, is what I'm trying to say. So this right here proves that it was all for looks, which, to be honest, I'm perfectly okay with. This looks really cool. Now, this doesn't really answer the question of what I've mentioned here a few times, like silvers, Hong Kong silvers, and bootleg discs. Well, I also have another game right here, which this is a unauthorized pressed copy of a game, and not a Game Shark. See, I've been to the Middle East a few times because, I mean, look at me. Now, over there, they loved the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2, because what you could do is you could take the system, you could modify it with a mod chip, and then you could play burned games. However, they didn't have burned games. They actually had factory pressed discs. Yeah, they had these games that were factory pressed, and it wasn't illegal over there because they don't know what the hell copyright is. Now, normally they come in like a really cheap sleeve, but this is one of my favorite games, Thrill Kill. I ended up taking it out of the nasty sleeve and I ended up putting it in a nicer case, but as you can see, it's still unofficial. I mean, if you look at this right here, there's nothing even on the back, it's just this little sleeve. You can't really see it up close because it is, you know, it's far away from here, but this printed insert on the back is actually kind of low quality, and I can count the pixels, dude. I can count the pixels of this. However, I'm trying to show you all this part right here. This is the actual disc right here, and if you take it out and check it out, so as you can see, this looks completely different than any official PlayStation release, right? As you can see, the disc texture is just completely off. The PlayStation logo is right there. I mean, they at least made a valiant effort, but they weren't trying to make this look legitimate, especially when you turn around the back and you see this. These were some of the first silver discs that I saw, and this right here, yes, despite this being a silver disc and this being a silver disc, this one is an official release. This one is not at all. This, you put it in an unmodified PlayStation, it will not work. It will give you an air screen, while as this one should work in any type of PlayStation out there as long as it can play NTSCU games. So that's what I kind of wanted to do. I kind of want to share this with you because I thought it was cool and it's kind of a nice addition to the collection, but also just kind of a rundown of PlayStation 1 games, brand new games that are pressed in small batches, are silver. They don't come on the black backed discs anymore. They come on the silver backed discs, but don't worry, if you get one of these and it works in your PlayStation, you're good. It works out, it's just fine. It's not the equivalent of one of these silvers right here, which with this is like, when you say silver, they say silver because it's silver backed, and it's slang for a officially bootleg copy of whatever it is. So yes, even though this thing right here looks like a audio CD and it is silver backed and it is pressed, it will not work naturally in any type of unmodified PlayStation. Final thing I want to cover on here, what about value? Does this affect value at all? Well, honestly, not really to me. I haven't seen it affect value. You see, this is still, you know, as I said, a brand new PlayStation 1 game, but it's a greatest hits title, which is already going to be less value than a black counterpart to it right here. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be less valuable. I just think it's going to be less sought after. Just like there's other games, for example, out there, there's some games that are common, but they're worth a good amount of money, while there's other games that are rare and they're pretty cheap. So this is just one of those types of things where honestly, this game right here having a silver back and being pressed like this is not going to have an effect on its value. I just feel like it's going to be less sought after because it's not, you know, the authentic PlayStation Black. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, I would recommend liking it because, hey, that'd be appreciated. And if you didn't like this video at all and you hate these silverback games right here, there's a button for you too.